What's up, guys? What's happening? How we doing? How we doing? All right. Gonna go ahead and get this started here in just a couple minutes. Time to say what up to the gang. Morning, everyone. Morning, morning. What's up? We got Lindsay, Jose, Patrick. Okay. Let's get this thing going. Boom. All right. Michelle, what's up? All right, give me 1 second, guys. Just got to make sure that I got a couple things here. Good to go. Morning. Here to learn some skills with you. Run it up. What's up, Justina, Corey, Luis, Omar, Elias, Sarah. Just joined Tradetopia. Welcome in. Welcome in. Gabriel, Carlos, Edgar, A, Brandon, Puccini, Seth, James, Joe, Salvador, Amy. What's up, Puck? But the puck is good. All right. I spent way too many hours last night basically looking to get this stream optimized on the new computer. And then the irony of it all is that now the camera just doesn't show up, which we love. We love this. We really do. So after all that work, man. All right, well, I guess it just is what it is. Give me 1 second, guys. I got one more idea. But the good thing is that I'll tell you later. All right. So let me know if you guys can now see this. And then remember, all you have to do to get the highest quality out of this is actively make sure your settings are up to 1440p, and you should be able to see this at the highest level. Otherwise, it'll just adapt to whatever works. Everything's clear. See it. All right, perfect. What's up? What's up? What's in tomorrow's session? Welcome in, everyone. Okay, fantastic. So let's look at some charts. Let's look at a couple things here. And what I can do here is this. So a couple key things that I see going into this week. We're already seeing indices. They gap down all the way down to this level, and this kind of gap ended up playing out of some of this imbalance here with Dow Jones. We see NASDAQ do similar movement but go beyond those lows. So I do like how we cleared liquidity over here. We cleared weeks and weeks and weeks worth of liquidity on NASDAQ, playing into this imbalance over here. So when we see something like this, at least in my opinion, it gives me higher confirmations that we can see the market go ahead and do some pretty good movement. So when I'm looking at NASDAQ and I'm looking at Dow, I do see a form of liquidity here. So I'm definitely mindful over here of taking any buys. Like, yes, we have a huge sweep, massive imbalance. The market right now possibly creates it's looking like it could create a higher high. Also, because when we see a super liquidity like this, and then we see the market create demand, we oftentimes can see the market come back down to rebalance, lure in sellers one more time, and then move. But this is the ideal way that this can go. So close a couple things here. The ideal way that I see this going is that we see Dow sweep liquidity, and that sets up NASDAQ in this level, in this zone, and then that can bring NASDAQ down to here. So that's a possibility. One possibility. The second option that I see, and this would be the shakeout setup on NASDAQ, but I would want to see Dow clear those lows, etc. Now, the other option here is the following. The other option is that we have the market here trade higher first. So this is the other way that this can go about things, in which we see the market do this. So if you guys remember, on Friday we saw NASDAQ clear these highs, play into this zone. So we already have a bit of, we could argue this is a form of liquidity up here. So if we see NASDAQ come into these areas, do we have the potential to short? Could the market want to clear these highs as well? And they totally could. It could want to come into here, maybe reject, but because we already have equal highs around the zone, this is from Tuesday's high, Friday's high, I wouldn't be surprised if we trade up into this range as well, maybe clear these highs and then drop. So we can look at the same thing with Dow. Dow over here as well. We see that Dow on Friday makes a lower high, drops down. So if you guys want to take a look at this, you can kind of see this. The market clears these highs. Some of you withstood all of this. And then the market continued to move downwards. And some of you really held on to this and traded your way all the way down. I was looking to trade this as well. And then I actually wanted one more pullback here on NASDAQ before shorting. We didn't get it, and it just dropped without us. So with that being said, could we see Dow short from this zone? We see, and because this already here, we already had the market mitigate here, so we fill this out. And then from these levels, it's pretty much textbook here. Like, we see the market take the high, drop into here, rebalance a little bit. If you zoom in, and that's something that we can do here. If you zoom into this, you can see it a little bit better. So we see the market here create liquidity, sweep the high, and just drop. So could we, if we see NASDAQ as the stronger bull, then I have my eyes set on a short over here for sure. So I'm definitely looking at whether we're going to be over here or not. We have tons of highs, whether it's these London session highs and then basically going into Friday's post New York Open. So it just depends on how we trade right now. If we get NQ to work its way up to there last, then despite having relatively equal highs over here, so despite us seeing this, despite having this up here, I'd be willing to take a short on NQ. I'd probably go half risk since there's liquidity. And then take a position here. But that's only if NASDAQ is kind of the slowest one to pull up to this zone. So that's just how you guys can kind of see the different options, at least that I have in mind here. My question is, how are you guys feeling about this? I am also going to go into oil because oil does have a very unique setup. We're under 5 minutes away from New York Open, so I think that'll be really valuable to take a look at. And then we'll look at some majors and things like that as well. So no big deal. The screen looks a little smaller. Yeah, it's wider. It's on my wide screen right now. That's why. All right, cool. Let's see. Where else we got everybody here? All right, and I totally didn't drop a message that I was going live, so let me go ahead and do that here real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. Copy link. Boom. Okay. And so also remember, 15 minutes after New York Open, we also have fundamentals. So we have high impact news just 15 minutes after. All right, let's dive into this, guys. Just have to pull up a couple things here, make sure all these copy traders are set in stone, and we should be good. Cool. What's up, Ray? I only trade NAS and Euro. Would you recommend looking at the indices together for confluence, divergence? 100%. Waiting on GU setup right now because it's lagging behind Euro, but it looks like I missed out on the odd USD while I was asleep. Yeah, we'll take a look at majors for sure. All right, perfect. Okay. So one thing I want to make sure I have here is the following. That's all right. Connected there. All right, we're set here. And then you guys will also, I'll be taking my positions here as well. So you guys will have all of this here. You guys will see me trade this on Top Step, and I think it should be able to pop up on Apex here too. While we're taking these positions, and then everything else is to be copied over. In the meantime, we will see here. Let's see. Let's look at some of these oil plays. So actually, I need to pull this up because it'll be a lot faster doing it this way. So we're on CL. Are we on CLQ still? I believe so. Now, here's my thought process with oil. Oil, we had a huge sweep of liquidity, but it wasn't just last week, right? We didn't just clear last week's liquidity. We cleared not just last month's liquidity, but we cleared basically years worth of liquidity here with so many retail sellers just getting obliterated with this last push. And so now that the market has done something like this, it's a very, very clear sign that we have very little demand over here. The market has now traded back down to these levels. So we're seeing tons of retail buys over here. So these sell side liquidity. And what this is kind of showing me is that the market is creating a break and retest environment for retail positions. So traditional positions can open up in here. The market can then do something like this where the buyers join the game. We see the market expand up into this, and then everything melts through. So something like this is what I'm looking forward to here. So I'll have an alert here set so that if we do get to these areas, then we'll be all good to go. And then right now, what I want to see is, let's go back and take a look at indices because why won't this thing work? Okay, that's weird. That's unfortunate. I can't escape this. All right. Well, we're seeing now the market should gap, should be trading down here. Stock market is officially open. Nice here. So we're starting to see the push down. How is it looking with NQ? NQ is looking very similar. Gapping down as well. So at this time, I'm not necessarily looking for really too many positions. I think I could understand why people would want to buy right here because we had the market drop down into this level. We see oh man, this new keyboard is not doing its job here. It's like not escaping this. Why are you not escaping the full screen? It's just the silliest things, I swear to God. Well, what I was going to explain was the buy setup here on Dow or NASDAQ. We do see a sweep of the lows. Getting below, basically creating London session lows. So I could understand why people would want a buy setup right over here. And then same thing goes with NASDAQ. So give me 1 second, guys. Let's see if this makes a difference. Yo, why can't it? How do I escape this thing, dude? Like, oh, exit full screen, you know? What the fuck? No. This is fucking retarded. Okay, great. All right, well, whatever. I guess I can't ever. Guys, we're going to live in full screen, and this is just now how this functions. 1 second, guys. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever experienced. All right, we're looking at YM forever. That's all it is. So looking at a setup like this, what you can see is Dow is definitely lagging behind, but the only problem with a trade like this is that you didn't really get the higher high, so you don't really see the market sweep the high and then, for example, trade a little bit higher. So we do see the market trade up to here for about an hour and a half, and this is a liquidity sweep. So if it is going to trade down here, it's actually a decent play because it's also already bouncing out of this zone. So it's not terrible. So you could see something like this and then maybe just trade it into, just literally trading it into the imbalance. From here, we also see we have liquidity like this. So it's not terrible. With that being said, we dropped down to here, and right now it looks to me like it's building up liquidity. So if we wanted to see something like MYM, you have a similar scenario. Can you split them? I really would split them if I could just not have full screen right now, which for whatever reason, that is an impossible feat. How was Mike defeated by the markets? Technology itself. Technology itself took me today. So one thing that could play out, let's say we go a little higher and we trade above this range and we can see some demand, then this would make this setup here actually function. Let's see. There must be alternative methods to this. Calendar. Okay, let's look at NQ now. And actually what I want to see is so look, oil, or this goes lower, NQ goes below. Now it's trading there, decent. If we look at oil here, let's take a look at it didn't really do much on the open, so that's fine. Now let's go take a look at euro. So, and I don't think can. All right, cool, perfect. Tons of liquidity here building up where euro here has dropped down to. We saw the gap here. So the market gapped down into this level, played out of the zone, filled in the imbalance right away, and then came right back down. And then if you go look at something like the pound, here as well, I'd say even more bearish. You have this kind of move. So you could see a short here on the pound as well. If you look at this on the 15-minute, you see how on Friday, before New York Open, we see the market sweep liquidity, work its way down. Really no pullbacks yet. However, before you start getting too excited, make sure that you're checking out, okay, well, what is the New Zealand, right? What's this look like? Because these dollar pairs, they all move relatively together. We don't, and honestly, like NZD and the Australian, in my opinion, are significantly more bearish. Significantly more bearish over here. So let's see. Look at all this. Like we have trading out of FOMC still way up here available. If you look at Australian, same thing. If you guys have a setup that you see, whether it's for buys, definitely. I mean, I'm open to seeing what that might look like. So, for example, if we look at Australian here, right? We just saw how Australian futures, they have cleared tons of liquidity right here, trading into an imbalance. So if the market shows that there's very little demand, then this could be one of those examples of the market kind of trading over here, coming back down, and then rallying back to FOMC. But we would want to really see demand over here before something like this. So I'll come back. I'll come back to all this. I just want to double check and look at futures over here. So, okay, as we look at this, and we see now, right, what are we doing? We're starting to see the market trade higher. Dow specifically trading way up in this range. So we saw, I would say, a rejection of really this move, but not this lower move. So I'm still, I could still see us get down to here at some point. But if we are going to take something like this, I would want for us to get demand. So I would want us to see this first. Us to get something like this. Just trade over here. Then we kind of clear liquidity here. And as long as we have Dow still kind of more bullish than NASDAQ, then I'm down for this one. So look at NAS right now. NAS was a huge push down, gets below this low here, and then actually trades right into liquidity over here. So we have all of this. So let's say we end up continuing to trade. Let's say Dow holds up its setup. Then we might see NQ take these lows, which would clear Asian session, or quite a bit of Asian session lows, and maybe trade a little bit just into these zone over there, right over here. So that's how we'll just kind of keep an eye out on this. I'm going to place an alert on NASDAQ right over here. And we'll see what happens. Higher time frame, this would kind of be like that shakeout setup that I was talking about before. But lower time frames, we might have something else in store. All right. I glitched this thing. So it's driving me crazy. Okay. Here we go. All right. So we're going to go dual screen now, so I don't lose my mind. And what's interesting here, look at how we're starting to see Dow go a little bit lower. All right, let's see. Let's have these contracts pulled up here. All right, got that there. Now let's see how this continues, how this follows up. The other thing that we could see here soon is if this is going to continue to the upside, then we always have to remember we were looking at Friday's price action, right? So where was that marked up? Oh, it was marked up here. Okay. So we could still trade even higher into this zone. Right now, I'm seeing kind of like just a bit of liquidity here. We're starting to see an upswing. Look at that. We're 30 seconds out from this news event. So we just might look at or see a different setup. So then let's say, for example, we're going to get ready for a play over here. So let's just clean this up over here. And then we see Dow. So let's say we were going to see a play. Then we'd be looking at Dow trading like over here. Something like this. And then now we know, okay, here we go. Whoa, I definitely did something wrong there. Okay, cool. So right there, it tells you exactly what it would be. So we'd be looking at around 22 contracts if I'm risking $400. So give or take something like that. Now same thing here if we want. Don't actually need all of this. We can go full screen on here as well. Here you guys can see the liquidity. And then over here. Now we can take a look at how these maneuver their way to the downside. And like I spoke about earlier, if I see NASDAQ get below this liquidity, then this Dow setup looks significantly better. So we can have it all set up here. So like, for example, I can have it so it's just contracts ready to roll in case that's the move we want to make. And then same thing here. So for example, these are my my Apex accounts, in which these I want to make sure that if I am going to take something here, which would be like down over here, that I have same thing, the risk set in stone on these. So let's say I wanted to take 9 contracts here, because I like to trade these pretty conservative. And then if you guys are trading with Apex, remember it is equity-based drawdown. It is not end-of-day balance. And if you're using like copy traders, just make sure everything's all aligned as well. So, all right, here, Black Canto. Cool, set. So look at how now we're starting to see NAS actually start to take the lead here. NAS is starting to push up quite a bit more. Look at that. So price action actually flips after that news event. And now we're seeing NASDAQ take out the high, push even higher. So when I see something like this, now we kind of see that we could be looking at the market trading back down to or back up to these zones. So if I'm looking at NASDAQ, looking at a short possibly in this range, somewhere over here. If NASDAQ gets up into this level first, then the short can come with Dow. Okay. Gold is very bullish fundamentally. Sweet. Gold is flying. Caught it at the bottom. Nice. Nice. Hey, I appreciate you guys that are hitting like on the stream. Much love. Same thing for those of you subscribing. Appreciate that. Okay. Some of you guys said you posted on school. All right, I can look at those charts. So here's our community. If you're not in here, I have to log in on here still. I'm not on there yet. So if you're not in the community, then I don't know what you're doing. But you know what? You're invited. There you go. All right. Join the community. Link is now pinned at the top. Okay, look at this. Ooh, Dow now starting to rip. Let's go. So, like I mentioned earlier, we got up way over here. If you guys remember, we were still waiting for a setup, actually from up to this zone as well. This was from the 16th, and we never traded up to here. Had a nice little sweep of the high before it dropped. So, a couple options that we have here. Keeping both of these just in mind. Right now, look at this. We just cleared London session highs. Just got above this range, traded up into this zone. And then now we're starting to lose some demand over here. So this is interesting because now there's definitely like a sweep of liquidity. We're starting to lose a little momentum. Could be the beginning of a shakeout. We want to kind of keep in mind what's going on over here as well. Market comes into this zone. Now, NASDAQ, on the other hand, does not do the same. NASDAQ has not cleared liquidity, so I wonder if we'll see NASDAQ want to get beyond these highs as well. Maybe we see NASDAQ do something like that. So these are London session highs. The market loves to target, whether it's the previous session or a couple sessions, likes to take these setups out. And this is usually a test of structure. So sometimes we'll see things like this where you'll see the market go for it. And why are these relevant? Remember, if this is where there's a high during London session, anyone who's shorting during London places their stops usually above here. This is just psychologically a typical place for a stop loss. So if this is going to be the case, then sometimes you see the market clear the high. This successfully liquidates sellers. And then if you see it lose the price, then we can tell, okay, the motive behind price here was not to establish higher highs. It was to create, to liquidate sellers, trap buyers, and then that's where you see examples kind of like this sometimes. And then the market can go look for liquidity here. So something like this can be relatively common. So let's say that were to happen. Let's just assume, because these are typical scenarios. So let's assume something like that were to happen. Then we could be looking for a like a NASDAQ short, let's say. So I like to play, just kind of get ahead and think, okay, let's say the market sweeps liquidity. All right, clear some of these highs, and then eventually, give us kind of that shakeout setup. Then, okay, what would that look like? And I just have it all ready to go just in case. And then this way I can start to, I don't know what's going to happen yet, but at least I already have my short ready. The contract size is ready if need be. So we'll see. But right now, for example, I wouldn't really look to take any sells until unless we see a super liquidity, the market loses that demand. And only if we see something like that would I look for a short. Otherwise, we just keep waiting. All right, guys. Oh, what? I didn't see this. Also, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Nance is actually a secret agent. She's a spy. She has ninja-like qualities. I feel the same. You watched Friday, but some seemed it messed up. Was you able to go through the creation of a limit again on Top Step platform? I just caught the end of it. The limit? Yeah, sure. So, for example, let's say we were going to take a short. And you wanted to do a limit. So make sure, one, you choose the right contract. So here, let's say NQ. So that's down here. I have 2 orders set up, so I can just kind of quickly, press them. And then, excuse me. And then we have, for example, if you wanted to set it, you'd click it here. You put the number down, the contract. So I don't know if that's what you wanted to see. Otherwise, otherwise what you're seeing here is, would be, or are you asking about how do you figure out the contract size? So first, if you wanted to figure out your contract size, every asset has a different risk, a lot, the contract size. So for example, MNQ, it's $2. So you'd plug in 2 here for MNQ, specifically only MNQ. And then you'd put in what risk amount you'd have. So let's say you wanted to risk $150. So you'd put in, all right, so for example, I have mine at 400 here. So I have, for a micro NASDAQ, it's $2 a point. I want to risk $400. So if I move this, let's say this is a 35-point stop, then it'll tell me, okay, a 5.7 contracts entering right there with the stop loss right here would give me a $400 loss. That's how you set that up. And so when you have this here, the account size here doesn't really matter, but what you're doing is then you want to save the template. So then save as, and then save whatever the asset is and how much you're looking to risk. This is just a quick way to go about doing this. I don't know why it doesn't work on TradingView. I have no clue. I don't know. It just doesn't work the same way. And I'm not really sure why. Not yet, at least. Yeah. So we'll see. So check this out. Right now, we're seeing, we saw Dow clear the highs over here, cleared liquidity. It's clearly losing some of this demand, at least right now. I wouldn't jump ahead and just go okay, I'm going to look for a sell here. Just because we still have, 1, liquidity on NASDAQ, and then 2, we have we haven't cleared the London highs on Nasdaq either. So I think there's still motive for price to go higher before doing anything. So stay patient with that for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely make a cheat sheet on how to do this with any, because for example with Dow Jones it's not two, it's 50 cents a point for a micro Dow. So yeah, and then just save the template. So as you guys can see, I took the time to do this for like basically every major asset that I trade, and then same thing because it's gonna be different between a micro and then a mini as well. Instead of 50 cents, it's if you go to a mini, it's $5 a point. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. I usually just trade micros. It's just so that I can just get as close as possible to the right contract size. All right, here we go. Looks like London highs. Let's see if we can take these out. What up, bro? What's up, Hector? All right, gold. Yeah, you guys were asking about gold. So let's go take a look at gold here in the meantime. Gold. What is gold? I think GCQ right now. All right, so it looks like sweep of the low into the imbalance. You got 5-minute highs. So gold is really choppy if you're zooming out here, but if you're trading within this like smaller time in this range, I guess it's not as terrible. But okay, yeah, not bad. We might see even better gold buys later as well. So it looks like you could have something setting up in here. So Nas just took the London highs. Great. So now let's see if we have what I was talking about. So now let's see if we get here we go. All right, so now Nasdaq successfully cleared London session highs. And now in order to establish just a good stop here, what I want to see is, where is the high going to be? So is this it? So I want to see the market, one, show us if it's going to have little to no demand or not. Okay, here we are. We're seeing simultaneously, we're starting to get Dow to that level. Okay, nice. We're seeing Nasdaq slowing down, so I like the shorts over here. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer to see, I want to see us kind of lose that momentum and then make that little pullback, and then we can pull the trigger. So now we're starting to trade up into this range. Look at the 1 minute here on Dow. Why wasn't it showing that on the 5 minute? That's weird. Okay. So we're almost in there. Look at how we're going to get, it looks like mitigation. Could get mitigation on Dow, even though it's pushing more aggressively, but this is like a key buy to sell zone. And then at the same time, we're seeing this zone for Nasdaq, like a key area where the market can reverse from. I don't think there's any coincidence that these are happening around the same time. So I think we end up clearing some of that, trading into, looks like maybe into this imbalance, maybe, and then we see it drop. So right now, okay, starting to see this happen. So right now, as of now, there's technically no signs that there's, like, right now it looks like there is demand over here for the first few minutes. Let's see if we just get that drop and then the continuation. Drop, quick drop down, little pullback, and then we're in there. So more like this. Play by play. Trading cleared these highs. Now we're trading in the imbalance after this kind of New York Open drop. So really at any time here, this might play out. Now, again, one of the big things you want to remember is that you can't just kind of expect your theory to always work. You have to let the market confirm what you think. So we're not here to be right. Remember that. We're not here to be right. We're not here to have to trade. We're not here, like, if we get a good setup, fantastic. If we don't, then it is what it is. But right now, bless you. Right now, it looks like we could get it. There's signs that the right setups are developing. It doesn't mean that it has to happen or it will happen. And I really want to make sure that is understood, because a lot of times, like, when you're waiting and you have all of these things and it looks like and it's just giving you one confirmation, the other confirmation, then eventually we just get to this point where it's like, oh, this is and then you finally you need like one more confirmation, and then you don't get it, and then now you start to rationalize, well, you're like, oh, well, this and that, and then you just force a trade in when it wasn't meant to be. So as of now, okay, we're trading up into this imbalance. Now we're seeing Dow trade into this zone. Okay. So right now, if we compare price action, right, is NASDAQ anywhere near up here? No, it's not, right? It's way behind. So I'm not going to force a play here on Dow. These are the kind of setups where sometimes, they'll work out, like Dow could short from here. So sometimes, but rarely. It's way less likely. Whereas now the other thing, I guess, in its favor is that you do have this order block here. So there's a chance that now NASDAQ is going to lose some steam, and then we could see the kind of what we were looking for over here. So now we could be seeing something like this. So there's a possibility we get something like this right now. But I have to see it first. Otherwise, this might just keep climbing, and then we could look for a short somewhere over here. And if that is the case, then that's fine with me, because that may turn into red over here. So if the market wants to keep climbing and we work our way up, then I'd look for a setup in these areas. Here's where we have just like some pretty good sell zones, like right there. You see how we've seen resistance in the past here? Yeah, these are the levels that I like to trade out of. But let's see. All right, finally getting a little bit of a push to the downside. Dow starting to mitigate as well. So no surprise there. Starting to see that little push down. So we naturally have traded up into this imbalance. liquidated tons and tons and tons of retail sellers. Now it's going to be, we're going to see, is this going to be an example of the market slowing down, losing demand, or is this just a light little push so this can continue to the upside? So don't jump the gun. Let the market give you all the details. Okay, see? No signs yet, so nothing to short at all. So then if that's the case, what's interesting here now is that we're seeing NASDAQ trade higher. Dow is starting to lose more momentum faster. This might be, we'll see. This might be a case of the market flipping price action mid-session. So sometimes what we see is the market, like for example, here we just cleared this liquidity. Market goes up to here. And then all of a sudden now that Dow's in this range, even though it gets here first, if we start seeing bearish price action on Dow, we might just flip into Dow wanting to drop further faster while NQ kind of slowly chops its way up. No sé si estoy transmitiendo clases en español. No, casi no. Si me piden puedo dar la traducción. Pero más que todo aquí enfocado en inglés. Pero igual, si pues cualquier pregunta aquí me las hacen y aquí yo se las contesto. Okay. Finally, starting to see a little bit of a dip. Let's see if I have the right perspective on this or not, because this might not be the case. So instead of me guessing, like, oh, okay, yeah, let's just sell this now. Okay, well, if let's say we were to short now, where does the stop loss go then? Where do you place a stop with a setup like that? Do you place a stop where there's, you know, the order block at the high over here? So how do you make a decision on that? And so from what I've found is I would rather see us lose, like have it drop first, kind of show us the sign of weakness, show us the demand, the intention up here was more to lure in buyers. So only if we were to see the market, for example, like lose momentum, then, and like kind of stay down here, then I'd be more open to shorting. Because otherwise, there's definitely the possibility that this can go higher. So right now, it looks like we could be gearing up for a short. See, look, now we're starting to drop. Okay. Also, Dow is giving similar movement, and Dow is dropping more. Dow is starting to get more bearish here faster. See that? See how this here, this candle is this candle. So this little 1 minute bearish candle here, Dow right now is trading lower. NASDAQ is trading higher. So we just saw a flip in momentum. Look at that just shift in momentum. NASDAQ is trading higher here, significantly stronger to the upside. Dow a little bit slower. So these are some of these cases are examples on when now, for example, there's a chance that Dow actually wants to short while NASDAQ maybe kind of fights its way up to the upside. So would I look to short here? Not really. Like, I get it, but it's also not really what I would want to do. The pump to the upside was about 50-something points. The move down, we've mitigated now, 65. So Dow definitely exchanged buyers to sellers. Double click on top bar of the browser. ¿Huh? Hola Mike, a mí también me gustaría que explicaras un poco en español. Básicamente ya vimos mitigación de Dow Jones por aquí. Y ahorita solo quiero confirmación de que no hay demanda aquí. Y ahorita parece que sí, creo que todavía seguimos alcistas. No hay señales de que el mercado quiera caer todavía. Entonces yo aquí tengo un poco de paciencia. So we saw the market move up. We did see it drop down for a few minutes. It's coming right back up again. This to me is not enough proof that we're going to start to trade down. Like, yeah, we drop, but we kind of quickly come right back up again. So we can tell, like, there's definitely there's buying power here. No doubt about it. Like, there's buying. This is not just a move to the upside to take out sellers. There's demand. So I wouldn't want to take this yet. I would just stay patient. It seems like the move can just go back up here, and then that might take Dow to higher prices. So we might see Dow just trade to the upside. And I mean, I could see it. Why? Like, we have liquidity here. Retail trend line. So the market might want to just kind of break above this at some point. Aquí puede buscar esta liquidez, esta tendencia que tiene por aquí Dow. Tengan paciencia con oportunidades por acá. Okay, now something interesting with the dollar. The dollar, we saw Dow or USD JPY. My brain is just thinks in Dow Jones. So we see the sweep of the high, trade way up here, trade up into this range. Looks like a little sweep of the high, then the reversal, but it quickly losing tons of momentum here. So is that just USD JPY, or is that more? You know, do we have more going on over here than just that? When I'm on top of X and place a buy or sell limit, I can see anything to do. I can't see anything to do with stop loss or TP. I can't place a buy or sell limit. Oh, so remember, there is no stop loss technically or take profit with futures. Like, you are going to set up, for example, so if you put a sell limit, let's say you put a sell here, right? If there's a sell right there, then your stop loss is a buy on the other side of it. So let's say you sold right here, a sell. Then you would put a buy with the same contract size, which would be your stop loss. So the buy, you buy out the sell. Same thing. Let's say you bought right now and the market would drop down. You would have a sell stop so that if the market drops into it, you are the one on the other side of the trade. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is USD JPY. You have USD CHF also dropping as well. A lot of squeezing, so I don't really see a setup. I could see how USD JPY right now, the way it's moving. Right, this took out a significant amount of money here. So depending on how this plays out, I mean, this could be another This could be a shakeout play for sure. Keep that one in mind. Keep that one in your back pocket there. USD CAD. See the push to the upside during London. Plays right into this order block, it looks like. Now it's shifting momentum. So you see this take out liquidity. So dollar gains strength, then loses strength. And right now, here, this could be setting up. This could definitely be setting up. So you're looking at something where the market could create lower lows and then give you a lower high. I don't love the sideways movement. So let's see if futures looks a little different. Pretty similar. This looks like liquidity. So this sweep, it looks like we could be getting a higher high here. So it looks like USD CAD drops. It looks like maybe it's going to get to the next, create a new structure. But I don't love this. That looks like it can get taken out. So just be mindful. Be mindful of that one for sure. So, all right, NASDAQ tapped into 22,000, just clearing it right now. Slowly but surely working its way up. NASDAQ making movement. Dow also still climbing its way up. So what are you, now question for you guys, are you looking to short out of this aggressive move we saw with NASDAQ over here? NASDAQ, pumps all the way through to here. Is this something that you're looking to sell out of? Are we looking to stay out, away from it? What's the perspective here? There's clearly a difference in price action. Dow leading the way here. Already up in this range significantly. So if we see Dow, for example, break out of this trend line and, break above maybe this Friday high, I mean, who knows? Maybe it clears the FOMC highs finally, because this is FOMC high right here. FOMC, this is the conference, and then this is the interest rates. So FOMC highs. Could have something there. See that, clear that, and then if then we see divergence and Q over here, you can see a short. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at NZD, etc. So we have a look at that. It's pushing higher. So dollar losing tons of momentum. GU pumping. Euro pumping as well. GU really making a nice move. Just like it was mentioned here. GU skyrocketing up towards that mitigation zone, but it looks like it's the bull of NU and AU. Yeah, so what I think looks better here is not so much looking to sell GU, but if the market trades like this, this looks like we may be seeing a buy setup here in the future. NGQ. All right, yeah, I got you. So take a look at this. Yeah. Interesting. So look at something here. We're seeing Dow starting to lose momentum. NASDAQ starting to lose momentum here. Just a little bit. Does that mean we trade anything yet? No. No, it does not. All right, let's look at Seth. You dropped the chart here in the exchange. Is it a new post? Or is it... Head out of the what's good? Good to see you on here, bro. All right, newest post. NGQ play. Let's see if it'll still work. No, it won't. So here's the setup. Oh, okay, I see your setup. All right, let's check it out. So we're looking at natural gas. And then Seth has a play on the 15-minute. And if I'm not mistaken, it is right over here. So you see a nice sweep to the low. Fill some of this gap. Liquidity sweep. Rally. We can zoom in if we want to get more detail on the move. So like, where does this really start to drop from? I like this setup. Drop from here, come back up. Basically something like this. Sweeps this, imbalance fill. We have a lot of demand over here as well. A lot of support in the past. Tons and tons and tons. So trading in this range, yeah, I mean, I like it. I think price is getting pretty close too. And so this is where you kind of have two decisions to make. Either you trade it right in this, just like right where this kicks off, or you assume it's going to get below it and then trade a little lower. In terms of risk reward, let's say you take it as it just comes into the zone. You got to ask if it's worth it. So what would the target be? Trading into imbalance, getting a nice little maybe 2R. You also have this over here as well. So you have the sweep of liquidity. So there's liquidity sweep here. You have buy setup that takes this out. This could be something interesting in the future. Especially because this clears not just there, but clears over here. 4-hour clearance of May all the way over here. Yeah. I definitely I see the setup. I think it's worth it. And then taking your exit right where you see previous levels of support, basically. Even just playing into this. Yeah, I think that's a conservative exit. I think you get that. I'm with it. Okay, here we go. So now we're starting to see another drop again. Dow dropping. NQ dropping. Market stays bullish though. So still no trade. Still no trade. At this point, we've been trading above the London session highs for basically 25, 30 minutes. So, I mean, there's really there's demand here. This is confirmed. Like, we've been trading here. So the short, in my opinion, would just be the only option to short something would be over here. And then if I'm gonna, eventually take a buy, then it would be only if I think Nasdaq clears these lows, and that positions Dow for a buy, maybe over here. But we'd have to see how the market gets here or not. Now going to this setup that now this is now not MNQ but MNG, so this is natural gas. And we have a trade, let's say it looks like somewhere over here. Thought I just had a toolkit. Oh, there it is. I'm just blind. So it looks like it'd be like trading somewhere over here. And then you have the stop like right there. And then, for example, with MNG, so natural gas micro, lot size is 1,000. So then here, let me just, and I usually like to do this twice just to make sure I click the right one. So yeah, lot size here, $1,000. And then you set your stop. So if I were to take this trade, for example, and take it to, I don't know, somewhere over here, just to go for a 2R. Then this is telling me, all right, 7 contracts, you're good on 7 contracts. Okay, look at NAS starting to lose momentum, so let's go back over here. Dow starting to break below. So it looks like the second move up to here, starting to bring sellers down, create lower lows. And Q here, not quite, not as bearish. Still actually giving us higher lows. I wonder if Nasdaq takes the lead here, if we start seeing that happen. So today's trading is just an example of kind of grinding it out, to be honest. It's like you can just place your alert in the key zone. While we were over here, it was kind of speculation, like, oh, is this going to be a higher high, or is this going to just be a sweep and then it comes right back down? For now, it looks like, yeah, this is definitely bullish. At least the 5-minute, this is creating this higher high. There's still liquidity here, so I'm not totally in love with buys. But there is, at least for me, there's not really an active setup or anything like that. And you definitely have to be okay with not forcing anything. The only other setup I was looking for here is oil, but I haven't had an alert go off. and oil actually pushed down even more, cleared liquidity. Those are the only other setup. We had gold, right, as well. That was lining up. So all of this was kind of just with thin consolidation. I don't really trade like this too much. I'm not used to trading like this, at least not with gold. A little bit more with indices and just knowing that, like, having a good directional bias. But like even for the 5-minute right now, we get a sweep of liquidity. This is the low during London. It trades back into, kind of the imbalance. We get above the high, but we don't keep this high. So this, to me, looks like a sweep liquidity. But we don't see the market trade up here too long. Comes back down, rebalances, comes back up again. It's just indecision for me. So I don't trade this. Doesn't mean you don't, or you can or can't. Just trade what makes sense to you. I still have perspective for a short here. And then haven't quite hit this long yet either. So I still have these two setups that I'm waiting for. So in regards to like what is closest to happening, looks like natural gas could be a setup. Looks like maybe we see shorts on NASDAQ. I would say pay attention to price action. If NASDAQ keeps being, giving higher highs and higher lows before Dow, then maybe we look for a short on Dow. It depends. It really depends. Maybe what we see is a liquidity sweep, and then maybe we see a short out of FOMC highs or something. But yeah, so right now, key example of just waiting for the market to give you the green light. Otherwise, you're going to end up taking trades just out of boredom, out of familiarity. That's just what you're used to. You want to be in a trade every day. It's the first trading day of the week, so there's really not even a necessity by any means to be in the market. So let the market come to you. All right, we'll wrap up there. I think that's a good time to kind of just close. Yeah, it's just gotta wait for sure. And I know a lot of times, like most days, you'll get a trade on indices pretty quick. Sometimes, within the first hour, sometimes before, New York Open. What I will say is this week I will be going live a couple times before the YouTube stream. I'll be going live in our school, in our community, in the Tradetopia exchange. So I'll be going live there. This week we have a few high impact news events that are happening before New York Open. So just to give you guys a heads up, I will be going live maybe on, maybe on Thursday, maybe on Friday. I'll do a live stream in the community. We'll do like a Zoom in there, and then just for everyone that is a member in there, contributing. And then also, if you are in the school community, there will be a giveaway for the most active in there, just giving feedback, dropping charts, etc. So you guys will see each other leveling up in there. And remember, once you hit level 3 in our community, that's when you start to unlock extra content, extra courses totally for free. So definitely keep your eye on that. Make sure you get access to as much as possible. The reason we have you guys go and level up in the community is so that you're not just watching, you're not just another participant and observer, but you are implementing, right? You're doing the work, you're getting better, you're getting uncomfortable. So we want that for all of you. Look at this right here, guys. This is what I was kind of talking about. Like, we're starting to see the shift in momentum. So now Dow is way more bearish. NASDAQ is pulling higher. So for example, if we get NQ, NASDAQ, ripping even higher, and we have Dow Dow might end up giving us a short, because now we're starting to see Dow doesn't really want to trade higher. And I remember we talked about this, like Dow might just get up into this level while NASDAQ grinds it out. I could pull up the clip from earlier. Said, look, Dow might be the one that just mitigates or wants to short, and then just NASDAQ is just going to grind this thing out. So we just might be looking for a short here in Dow later on, and it might be somewhere over here. So maybe we see a sell here later. So let's see what happens, especially if we can kind of hold this down. If we can just kind of trade over here, then we might see the market push its way down to here. So stay on the lookout. We might see a couple simultaneous things happen. So as of right now, suddenly the bias is more bearish on Dow, and we might just get a play here later on. It might take some time though. So with that being said, what's up, David? Would it be nuts to put half order at start of Nazir in second half where you have it marked up? I mean, I would say if you're going to do something like that, then and you want to experiment, probably experiment with the demo, build up a whole bunch of data to see if that's worth it for you or not. What's good? What's good? All right, good to see you here, David. My G. Everybody that's on, appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Remember, these are always recorded. So if you want to go back and study these, learn them, going through the thought process, going through the mindset management, the trade management, the emotional regulation, feel free. And then if you guys are in the community, feel free to share it too. It's totally free. We're giving away for free what people pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for. So, appreciate the love. Appreciate y'all sharing. And if you haven't subscribed, are you okay? Are you good? Anyways, should have camera set up and everything here for maybe tomorrow, if not Wednesdays though, for sure. So appreciate you guys. And then the next session is tomorrow. Make sure you got your notifications on so you never miss anything. Take care, guys. Peace out.